everyone, and welcome back to the Home Studies channel. My name is Fiona, and in this new series we're going to be looking at all of the important language points that you need to know at B2 level. In today's session we're going to be taking a dive into the past simple tense. We'll look at some examples and hopefully clarify any questions or doubts that you might have. So let's get into it. So, the past simple is used to talk about actions that were completed at a specific time in the past. It's one of the most common verb tenses in English and definitely something you should know at the B2 level. So let's break it down. Let's start with completed actions. So the past simple tells us that an action happened and was completed in the past. For example, I visited my grandparents last weekend. Here we can see the verb visit in the past tense, visited. Okay, this is an example of a regular verb. We'll come to the irregular ones later. Another example could be, I traveled to Spain in 2019. In this example, we know that that action of traveling, the trip, was completed within that time period. Now let's talk about how we form the past simple tense. So there are two types of verbs, irregular and regular. In the past simple tense, regular verbs follow a very strict pattern. We have ed added to the end, essentially, with some small changes in spelling on occasion. Let's look at some common examples. Walk would become walked. Travel would become traveled. Visit would become visited. Irregular verbs, on the other hand, don't follow a set pattern. So really the only way to learn these is to memorize them. However, let's take a look at some of the most common examples. Go becomes went. Eat becomes ate. Buy becomes bought. When you're studying these irregular verbs, you might notice some patterns that emerge, some similarities in the type of verb and then the type of past simple form that they take. But these are irregular, so you're gonna just have to learn them, unfortunately. So now that we've covered the basics, here are a few tips to help you really master the past simple and be able to apply it to your speaking or to your use of language in general. Number one would be to use time expressions. Okay, so by this I mean words like yesterday, in 2001, last Thursday, last summer. Okay, these indications of when an event occurred are not essential, but very often included when we talk about the past simple to help clarify when an event happened and when it was completed. And my second tip is related to the pronunciation of the regular verbs in the past simple. So although we write them fairly consistently with ed at the ends, there are some differences in the way that we say them. Okay, I would divide them into three categories. So we have words that we pronounce the ed as if it were t, such as walked, talked. Then we have verbs where the ed is pronounced d, such as played, lived, cleaned. And then finally, we have words that are pronounced with the ed is pronounced id. For example, started, needed, wanted. Okay? Learning the distinction between these can really help with your speaking and help you to sound more fluent. And there are some specific rules about when we use each pronunciation that I'll share with you just now. So to put it simply, we use the t pronunciation of ed when the final sound of the base form verb is voiceless or unvoiced. For example, s or ch. Okay, it doesn't have a sound behind it. For example, watch. The verb watch in the past simple is pronounced watched, despite being written watched, but don't say it like that. Next, we have verbs where the ed in the past simple is pronounced d. And we do this for verbs where the final sound of the base verb is voiced, with the exception of the D, but we'll come to that. So for example, I can think of the word play. Okay, the final sound of that word is y, play. And that is a voice sound. So therefore, when we put it into the past simple, it becomes played. And in the final category, we have words where the ending sound in the past simple is pronounced id. And this is almost always because the final sound of the base verb is d or t, d or t. Now, remember, that might not necessarily mean that in the base form verb, the final letter is a D or a T, but simply the final sound, the pronunciation is a D or T sound. So in that case, we might say, we think the verb need would become needed. So to wrap up, let's remember the past simple, one of the most common verb tenses used in the English language. It is used to talk about completed past actions. It often includes a time marker to indicate when the event happened and when it was completed. And remember about the regular and irregular verb forms. They can be kind of tricky, but with a little practice, I'm sure you can get there. So that's it for today. I hope this video has been useful. And if you have any further questions, anything you'd like to add, please leave us a comment down below. I really like hearing from you guys. See you soon. Bye.